Here we go. This is a very interesting person. His name is Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great. These are the years he's alive. He's one of the most famous people that came out of the Middle Ages, and something that happened to him still was with us today, and that's sort of the lesson today, that here's somebody who, something happened to him, still influences us to this very day. Okay, so let's see what it was. All right, here we go. So, Charlemagne, his real name was Charles. Charlemagne is sort of a French version of all that business, okay? Those are the years he lived, all right? He was king of a group of people called the Franks. Now, hopefully you remember the Franks. The Franks were one of these, remember these barbaric tribes that came in out of Germany? There were a sort of a, here they are, Franks right here. They were from up here, and they came into, and they settled in what the ancient Romans called Gaul, what we today call France, and you'll see that in this. But the Franks were one of these quote unquote barbaric tribes that defeated the Western Roman Empire. I would argue they were the most successful of the barbaric tribes. How's that sound? By the way, you should be writing this down. Here we go. They were the most successful. Why are they the most successful? What does that mean by success? What am I saying is the basis for the success of this? Well, they conquered more of the Western Roman Empire than the other barbaric tribes, the Goths and the Huns and the Visigoths and the Saxons and all those. Yeah, they conquered quite a bit, but they did not conquer the amount that the Franks did. Now, Charlemagne is not doing that. Remember, the date for the fall of Western Rome is 476. You can see Charlemagne is a number of generations after that. But I can continue to tell you that the Franks settled in Gaul, which I just showed you. Gaul is what we would today we call Gaul, France. Okay? So, by the way, how did France get its name? Well, now maybe you see how France got its name. France is named after this barbaric tribe called the Franks. Okay? Now, Charlemagne becomes the king of the Franks in sort of the 780s. Okay? And, I kind of want to make a point here is that he built a new capital city in what we today call France. And he kind of modeled it after look like ancient Rome. And so my point I'm trying to make here is that all these people who are alive in the Middle Ages, they can see the stuff that the Romans built. They can see the aqueducts, they can see the roads, they can see the bridges, they can see the architectural things in all the old conquered cities. And in many cases, the people of the Middle Ages are breaking these things down for, like the Colosseum of Rome looks the way it looks today because during the Middle Ages, people took bricks and stones away from that building for other purposes. But people still understand during the Middle Ages that something great was there. Something great existed before this time. They can see it, and they understand it was called the Roman Empire. They can understand that. So there's going to be this effort, all the way through Mussolini and Hitler in the 20th century to re-establish this great Roman Empire. Okay, so this is an example of this. Charlemagne is modeling his capital city to look like ancient Rome. Okay? The Franks accepted Roman Catholic Christianity. I made a point of that a couple days ago when you saw those maps. And by all accounts, Charlemagne himself was a very pious and very serious Roman Catholic. He took his faith very serious. He is one of the first people that we can really sort of see who had priests travel with his armies. Now, historians have kind of figured that Charlemagne was first, Charlemagne. He's the first guy to do this. Now, why would you have priests travel with your armies? Well, I think it makes sense. You say, well, we'll pray before battle. Okay, let's, dear God, help us to win. Okay, now the battle goes on and guys get injured and killed. So now what can priests do? Well, they can make last rites for the dead. They can pray for the wounded, etc. There's a third thing, and this has been a criticism of Christianity from Charlemagne on, is that what do you do? What do the victors, the victorious Christian army, what do they do? Well, they force everybody to convert. So you convert all the conquered people, and the priests are there to do that. Now, Christians are blamed for that. The fact of the matter is all religions have done this. This is not something that is strictly a Christian deal. Okay, so don't get too hung up on that. But that's one of the things that we sort of noticed about him. So you're still saying, okay, this is very fascinating, Mr. O'Brien, gee whiz, this is interesting as usual. But what's the big deal? Okay, the big deal about Charlemagne occurs in 800 AD. Okay, sort of right in the middle of his time as king. All right, and what happened was he did a favor for the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, and the Pope invites Charlemagne to come to Christmas in Rome. The Pope's name was a guy named Leo III. All right, that was his name. Mr. Lopez went to a high school in Chicago called Leo High School, named after this guy. So now why would a high school in Chicago name itself after this guy? Because this guy is pretty shrewd. Okay, so one more time now. Charlemagne has done Pope Leo a favor. He's basically saved his bacon. Pope Leo had been captured. Charlemagne and his army freed him. So in trying to thank Charlemagne, Pope Leo has invited Charlemagne to Rome from France now, to travel down to Rome for Christmas service. Okay? And in the middle of the service, Pope Leo has a surprise for everybody, including Charlemagne. By all accounts, Charlemagne had no idea this was about to happen. Okay? Pope Leo has a crown all set. And he, in the middle of Christmas service, he puts a crown on the top of Charlemagne's head and proclaims Charlemagne the emperor of something called the Holy Roman Empire. What the heck is that? The Holy Roman Empire. Well, this is exactly what I was mentioning just a moment ago. This is an attempt to hearken back to the good old days, the great days of the Roman Empire. But what do we call it? We call it something holy because this is a Roman Catholic thing. Okay? So now what is the Pope trying? Why is the Pope doing this? Charlemagne's already a king. Now he's the emperor of something else. Why is the Pope doing this? Well, again, I said Leo was very shrewd. The Pope is trying to proclaim his supreme power in Europe. That's what he's trying to do. What do you mean, Mr. O'Brien? He is trying to proclaim that he, the Pope, and all subsequent popes are more powerful than emperors, because what can they do? They can crown an emperor. During the days of the Roman Empire, the most powerful person was the emperor. Pope Leo is saying, okay, we got to get this, we got to do this a little bit different, and we're going to make sure that popes are always going to be the most powerful. So I'm going to do this, and we popes will be the most powerful people in Europe. What is the importance and significance of this? Maybe you still don't see it, but let me see if I can explain it to you. Okay? The importance is that this begins the historical struggle between church and state that we debate so often in Western civilization. And we debate this issue in the United States, don't we? Because the question is, who has real power, honestly? Is it the Pope or is it Charlemagne? Now, the Pope is symbolically saying he's more powerful, but who's really the most powerful person? The most powerful person is Charlemagne, because what has he got? He's got an army in the field of battle, a well-tested, often victorious, mostly victorious army. It's really Charlemagne who's the most powerful one. But what is the Pope claiming? Okay? This is this struggle between church and state. Okay, now how does this influence us today? Well, it's simple, really. If you think about the things that we debate in the United States today, many things have both a religious connotation and they have a political connotation. And I would just give you a short list here. One of the best examples of this is abortion. Okay? Abortion has a political it has a political aspect. It's legal to get one, but what is the religious aspect? Well, it's killing of a living thing. So this debate is a debate between church and state. How about the debate about gay marriage? This is a very simple one. This is also a discussion about church and state. Religious people are generally against this because they believe in one man and one woman, whereas this has been legalized by the state. How about euthanasia? Euthanasia is basically mercy killing, somebody who is terminally ill and they wish to die. Okay, there's a discussion. Well, what does the church say? Well, all life is precious and valuable. We don't want anybody to do that. Whereas the state, some states, not very many, some municipalities, not very many, have said it's okay for somebody to take their own life, if you will, commit suicide because they're in pain or whatever. How about the Pledge of Allegiance? Let's see if I spell this. Allegiance. Okay, this is a discussion of church and state. Okay, should the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer in school, for that matter, which are the Pledge of Allegiance says under God, is that a church-based thing in a political public schools run politically? So look, Leo and Charlemagne are not debating gay marriage. Okay, they are doing other things. They're getting other things done, and they have other issues of those times. My point I'm trying to make here is this struggle between church and state that begins in 800 AD with this event influences the things we debate and talk about today. So I would also continue and sort of talk about the fact that the Pope now has an army. Okay, the Holy Roman Empire now can get things done for the Pope. So some king somewhere, someplace, or some queen, we'll get into this with Spain and England down the line. The Pope doesn't like what's going on, and wherever, he can call up whoever's. Look, the main Holy Roman Emperors were Spanish kings. So the Pope sends a message to the Spanish king, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, we need to go get this king over here who's not going by Catholic law. And look, a lot of times, most of the time we think of popes as old guys today, older gentlemen in white. A lot of times in Middle Ages time period, popes were guys who had blood on their sword at the end of the day. Sometimes they were younger men who were willing to, and often did, lead armies into battle. Okay, the Holy Roman Empire lasts for 1,000 years. It lasts until 1806, where it ends. Would you like me to tell you the story of how the Holy Roman Empire ends? I can do that. However, you have to take modern world history to find that out, because that's where I tell the story. Okay, so here is a picture. This picture is a picture of a statue of Charlemagne. This statue is right outside of Notre Dame Cathedral in downtown Paris. Apparently, the Franks like to wear their beards and their mustaches with this V in the middle of them. So Charlemagne, by all accounts, was this big, huge man, like 6'3" or 4", which is very odd and very unique in those time periods. So he was illiterate, and he taught himself how to read and write when he was an adult. He was very much a supporter of arts. There's a lot of music that comes out of this time period. He's one of the most famous kings of the entire time of the Middle Ages. Okay? All right, now let me just finish with this. Would you like to see a list? Would you like to see a list of the polytheistic gods that the barbaric tribes, the German barbaric tribes, worshipped before they accepted Roman Catholic Christianity? This is a list of polytheistic gods that the German barbarians worshipped before they accepted Roman Catholic Christianity. Okay, so here we go. Let me just give you the list. Okay, so one of them was the sun. They worshipped the sun god. Okay, so now this should not be a shock to you. Lots of cultures all over the world worshipped a sun god. Okay, so the barbarians worshipped a sun god. They also worshipped the moon. There was a moon god. Okay, and this was, again, should not be surprising. worshiping the heavenly bodies, things like that. Okay? They worshipped a god named Tiw. Okay? And Tiw was the god of war. Again, shouldn't be surprising. The barbaric tribes were very much warlike, very warlike, and so they had a god of war. Their Zeus, if you will, their Jupiter, if you will, was named Woden. Woden was their chief god, their Zeus, okay? And he was called Woden. All right, now here's one that sort of has survived, and the most famous one, and that, of course, is Thor. Now, Thor was the god of thunder, and of course, all these movies that we have, and they got that guy, that actor who plays Thor, and he runs around with a hammer, and so yeah, that's where that comes from. Okay, now some of you girls may be saying, "Where's the goddesses?" Okay, well here you go. Here's one. Her name was Frigg, and she was goddess of the heavens. Okay, and so the heavens give birth, if you will, to all of the heavens give birth to all of the planets and the sun and the moon and that's all that stuff, everything you see in the sky. So that makes sense that a woman would be associated with the heavens because the heavens give birth to heavenly bodies. And then the last one, the barbaric tribes accepted Saturn, who was the Roman god of war and subsequently the Roman god of agriculture, because all those barbaric tribes were moving south because they wanted to stop being nomadic and hunter-gatherers and settle down. Okay, so isn't this a fascinating list? Isn't this something? Isn't this interesting? Isn't this unique? How about this list? What do you notice about this list? What do you see here? Is there something that catches your eye here? Well, did you get it? Did you figure it out? Yes, very good. Have you ever wondered why the days of the week are called what they're called today? Why is Wednesday called Wednesday? Well, the days of the week that we use in modern times go back to these German tribes and these gods. So what they basically did was the German barbaric tribes had a god for every day, for 7 days. So they had Sunday, Moon Day, Tiw Day, Woden Day, Thor Day, Frigg Day, Saturn Day. So I'm not sure what day you're watching this, but whatever day you're watching this today, you can call it this instead. How's that sound? Isn't that a great story? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed the entire talk today. We'll be looking forward to the next one. I hope everything is going well. I'm filming all these in one day, so they're coming out slowly. I miss all of you. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. And next one's coming up. Aloha.